What separates the best from the rest? We've all got brilliant kit. It's abundant everywhere. Information's everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. For me, it's about feeding fish. Get your feeding right, you're putting more fish in the net. Get your feeding wrong, you're getting beat either side. No one likes to be beat either side. I'll try to show you some of my top tips to put more fish in your net. As you can see, I'm sat on my box. It's chucking down with rain. It's freezing cold December morning. I thought I'm going to take some time now under the tailgate of my van to go through how I prep my bait for this time of year. It's kind of similar both times of year, but this time of year is particularly important. We want to use a low feed bait that we're going to not overfill the fish but attract them. So I'm going to show you how I do it really quickly. We'll start off, got the Aquastim BioGrub Black. This mix is a really fine mix, which I know a lot of you guys still put stuff through flower sieves. With this mix, you don't need to anymore. Again, resealable bags. I don't like wasting stuff, neither do you guys. Literally going to put through it, slice along it. Going to open only the corner of the bag, I don't want the whole bag opened. And what I do is, the mix is very simple. Look, I've even lost it for you. 1 pint bait tub. I pour it straight in. I'm not weighing it or anything as silly as that. What I like about these bags now, especially for you guys, seal it up. The bag's sealed now, straight back into the garage. It's a real super fine mix this. I really like it. I've only been using it probably 6 to 8 weeks, so I've caught a lot of fish at Ashby and a lot of fish at Howe End. That's the first part of my mix. I'm then going to use the sweet Skimmer Dark. A little bit more food content, a bit of a different smell to it. Again, I'm just going to carefully open the right hand side of the bag. Again, that's what I like about Skimmer ground baits nowadays. Back in the old days, they were all a bit sort of bland and stuff. Now they're like ultra sweet, really attractive to us and the fish. So getting that into my mix. Just a quick blend up, not try and cover my arm in it. Now, people have a tendency now to try and chip it all in at once with this kind of mix. Fish meal, insect meal, it absorbs an awful lot of water, so we're going to take our time and get it right. There's no point, it's expensive enough ground baits nowadays, and fishing's expensive enough without ruining it. Literally going to be a tiny bit. That's all it needs. You also run the risk, if you're not using a drill, of clumping it up. So all I'm doing is try and work it around. I know I'm trying to teach you boys old tricks and stuff, but for me now, I would literally put that on the floor and walk away for 20 minutes, whether you do it at home or on the bank. I have a preference to do mine the night before. I just like the way it it frees me up in the morning. I don't want to rush around in the morning. I'm set up pretty quickly and I like to get off my peg. So I mix it the night before. I can be set up, off my peg, and what I don't want is like 10 or 12 guys behind me still going, "You catch, what do you reckon today?" And if everyone behind you really is detrimental to your peg. So mix it up, leave it like that. Literally, you can feel straight away. Binds, but breaks up the fingers. I'm going to leave that now for sort of 10-15 minutes, come back to it, and we'll go again from there. Like I said, it's dried out quite a fair bit, to the point where you're squeezing it, you're hardly mixing the ball now, and literally one touch of it, it's breaking apart again. I know some guys, if you're fishing pole maybe, you could go in and sprinkle it loose on the surface on a shallow venue to make a bed on the bottom. Perfect for that, but for me, feeder fishing, I'm one of the old school. I like my mix a bit wetter. I don't like a dry mix for the initial part, so putting a bit more water in and roll my sleeve up. There we go, look. Again, bit of water then, now to a point where you think that might be overwetted now. You think, oh, it's gone too far. No, haven't gone too far. Just makes a ball now. Quite a good ball. If I wanted, I can squeeze that hard. If I wanted to feed on the pole, it's going to go to the bottom, guaranteed. Still breaks down. So what I'm going to do now, I'll leave this about another 5-10 minutes. Then going to push it through a riddle to make sure there's no big lumps. In summertime, it's probably not going to matter too much because you're feeding. And I think fish like them big bits. I know people say, oh, you've got to riddle it. In summer, I think they quite like a bit like that. Comes along, it's a big bit on the bottom, they eat it up. I don't think it makes any difference. I think it helps. In winter time, trying to catch like maybe 8, 10, 12 pound of skimmers to win a match or frame, I think it's sort of a bit more finesse is needed, and I'm going to put it through a riddle. Now I know it's perfect. There's no lumps in it. I'm not going to overfeed any fish that do come in the peg. Right, ready to go fishing now. The ground bait's finally absorbed enough water. There's not going to be a lot of lumps in here, I can tell you. It mixes such a nice mix, this is. Quickly going to literally have 2 buckets. A nice sort of 4mm ground bait riddle. Emptying it out onto there. Head, pick it up. Not a rush process. You haven't got to go rah, shake it like a nutter. Just literally push it through. Any big lumps, just push through. See, there you go, like a big lump of little pellet there. See, I don't want that stuff on the bottom of the peg. Summertime, brilliant. This time of year, not so good. I'll show you what's left in this mix now. It's gone through that. Nothing. So now we've got a we've added a load of air to the ground bait. It's real fluffy. We can do whatever we want with it. Right, feeder fishing. Always on the bottom, isn't it? All the fish live on the bottom, swim around. Incorrect. Fish swim off the bottom. They're up in the water. And we chucking a feeder are trying to put them on the bottom. Now, we could be missing a trick here, and I think we really are missing a trick. And I do this an awful lot, especially in Ireland and venues where skimmers are about. Skimmers just absolutely love it. Make it a big slop mix beside me, and I have it in my side tray there, beside my Oxford ground bait bowl. And then when I'm going for a spell, I'm not catching, or I think it's gone a bit iffy, I'll quite often just pick a feeder up and chuck it out, 2 or 3 feederfuls of slop. What that's doing is drawing a column of bait all the way through the water, especially with a fire mix like this. You've then got bait all the way through, and hopefully, in my head, it's then attracting fish onto the bottom. And the amount of times you go in of 2 or 3 chucks with a big sloppy feeder and catch a bream or catch a big skimmer, it's not coincidental. It's got to be something in it. Obviously, we can't see the bottom in 25, 30 foot of water. We're guessing, but we can only go by our own thoughts, and that's what I think. So I'll show you how I mix it now. It's dead simple. I have the same mix. All I've got is half a pint of BioGrub Black and half a pint of Skimmer. Literally mix it like you would do back in the old days when you were fishing the whip on the canal as such. Chucking it in. Try not to slop it all over yourself because it's pretty minging. This again takes loads more water than you ever think it's going to take. I put no loose offerings in it, nothing. So all I'm doing is basically creating an attraction cloud in the water. And I'm literally probably going to be near enough a pint for pint on this. So obviously, like I said before, fish meals and insect meals absorb a lot more water than normal ground baits do. Right, we've got to a point now, we're at a sort of pasty consistency now, like I would call class a paste consistency, and I still don't think that's enough. Because bear in mind, it's going to dry out. Oh, today it's chucking down, the moisture is going to stay in the ground bait a fair bit. If it was summertime, it's going to be evaporating out the pot pretty quickly. It takes a bit of getting used to, and like, still, it's not enough. So we're going to be virtually a pint in here. That's a pint of water to a pint of ground bait. Now I can show you that now. It's like a bowl of sick basically. But again, just trying to slop it everywhere with myself. I'm somewhere now where I reckon we're about perfect. That's quite a good ratio for you guys. Look, I've taught you something. Pint to a pint makes it almost perfect. That for me is the right consistency now. It's proper, like, you squeeze it through your fingers, it all pops through. That's the way I think you want it. So when you chuck it out, it just about stays in the feeder. A hex mesh window kind of feeder would be perfect for this, where you've not got any bait coming out on the cast and it's all exploding through the water. It's like the softest putty in the world, and I think that hits the surface and starts instant impact on the surface and draws down through the water column and breaks off, and by the time you get to the bottom there's probably not a lot left in there, unless you're fishing real shallow venues that are 5 or 6 foot deep. That's all gone by the time you get to the bottom. So then you basically fish an empty feeder on the bottom over the bait you've got and a great big cloud coming through, and definitely going to catch you a few more fish. Right, we're set up, got my heater on, my bait's set up, my ground bait's mixed, my sloppy mix is mixed. 2 minutes to the all in. What you doing? I don't know. For me, this is the most important part of your whole match. This is where you make or break your session. If I went in and fed 20 of them, what do you think is going to happen? It's December, I'm absolutely Baltic, it's been chucking down. I'll tell you what's going to happen, you're not going to catch anything. So the next 10 minutes are really going to decide what your session's all about. Are you going to ruin it at the start? Sometimes different. You go in, feed 30, 40, 50 of them on some venues. It would make an iota of difference. But here, you're fishing with skimmers that fish for relatively regular. It's cold. The water temperature is about 5 degrees. Don't want to fall in. For me, I'm basically going to film my way into the match. I'm going to put in, what is this? This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-hole cage feeder with a little bullet on the bottom. I like using the bottom. I'll explain why in a minute. I'm going to feed them at the start. I'm going to put 3. 3's enough. If you're feeding a pole, you probably only cut 2 balls of ground bait, so it's not a massive difference if you're feeding gold ball size. All I'm doing is literally I'm going to feed just pure ground bait. It's squeezed in, thumbnailed on top, just to hold it in. When it's get to the bottom, it's a light mix. So I'm just going to take a time now. I'm going to chuck out, hit me clip, let me tip onto it, rod onto me rest. Watching the feeder go down. It's on the way down, so it's relatively deep here, 10 foot. What I'll do now is have my stopwatch here. Just press try. There's no point in going hitting a bottom. Watch, guys. They chuck in, hit the surface, 12 foot. What are you doing? What is the point? It looks great and really fancy for the camera and bits and pieces, and you're fishing. It's outstanding. You reel back in, you're bouncing your feeder from 50 metres all the way across the surface. Brilliant. I'm just going to leave mine on the bottom for 35-40 seconds. Let the bait empty out. I don't want bait every single place at the moment. We've just started the session. Can't win the match or can't beat your mates if you're going pleasure fishing in the first 5 minutes, but you can ruin it in the first 5 minutes. So 35 seconds. We'll just tighten down to my tip. Just give it one. I know now my bait's emptied on the bottom. It's not everywhere. I'm fishing for what are you fishing for? Here, relatively, probably 20 bites. It's not many bites, is it? 5 bites an hour. I see you through as a good weight again. You'll probably win the match with that. And literally, what I like about these feeders at the bottom, they've got a bit of a sort of cross member of plastic at the bottom, which stops the ground bait coming out and compressing. So again, straight down, hit me clip, back down same hole, 20 odd metres, put me rod on me rest. And I'm going to strike it out, just letting it settle. Don't really tighten up the tip. Again, I've just pressed on my fish. I've got a catch clicker here, any stopwatch will do. What I'm doing is press try, gives myself 35-40 seconds. They always say, oh yeah, but you're wasting time in a match. But you're not wasting time, you're setting your peg up properly. And if I'd go in now and strike on the surface, I'd have bait everywhere. Well, another thing with these kind of venues is, probably can't see today, it's probably a bit cold and been raining really heavily. There's a million, and I mean a million roach in here. And if I went in there and clattered bait from top to bottom at the start, would I then draw all the roach off guys either side of me? And all of a sudden my peg becomes unfishable as such. It becomes stupid. And the more you cast, the worse you make it. If you understand what I mean, it can make it really bad. So again, 40 seconds. We'll repeat it one more time. Strike out. What you notice is I'm not fishing with a bait up rod. I'm fishing with a 9-foot parabolic map rod, which I'm going to fish the whole session with. We're not spodding long way. Don't need a big feeder. We've got a small feeder on, 20 gram of weight in the bottom. I can't be any more accurate than what I'm doing now. Maybe if I was fishing braid, it'd be a foot more accurate, but I'm fishing mono because there's a commercial, there's a chance of a few carp. Bite detection there is not going to be dropped by 1,000,000% on there. It's not to a point where it's going to change anything I'm going to do. Just going to hit me clip. When a little bit left out once I mended it to chuck it in the same area. We put 3 of them now, probably in a metre squared, so really tight. What you notice is I've put nothing in that feed apart from just ground bait. It's just a mix of the Supreme Skimmer and BioGrub Dark. That's all it is, mixed up perfectly as I showed you. Just going to give that again. We're 11 seconds now, so just going to let it empty. What I'm trying to do is create an area where I can go in. And I know I'm not setting lines everywhere. I'm trying to catch one area and try and judge what's being caught around me. And again, look around you and tell you what's going on. There's no point feeding 20 feederfuls there, or even 10. It's pointless. So it's going to be the third chuck now. When I come in, I'm going to, because I am super lazy, don't tell anyone, I'm going to put a pre-tied hook on, because I can't time any better than people do nowadays. And if you're a busy guy like me with a young family and business and stuff, why wouldn't you? Just easy. And 40 seconds. Fed the peg, put the 3 feederfuls in over a 3 or 4 minute period. We're now ready to start. What are you going to start on? For me, I'm going to use basically 2 red maggots. What I do is I sort of rub them between my finger. I don't like dead maggots as such. I tend to try and kill them on the bank or stun them. So we always try and hook one through the fat end. And again, you can get a few of these while you're fishing and just squash a few up or just rub a few in your finger. And one through the thin end. So a double maggot hook bait. Every fish in the world eats maggots. Not feed anything yet apart from the ground bait still. Middle of winter, we're just going to see what we can catch first, if anything. Fishing a running rig with mono, with a power gum link, just in case I hook a better fish. On a 30cm hook length, so I'm about 50 centimetres from my feeder. like to fish a running rig as well, because the bite detection this time of year is brilliant. Literally a case of no rush. Plop it out, hitting the clip. Going to sink the rod slightly in front of the rod rest to start with, trying to get the bait, the surface tension broken, the line through. Just going to give it a quick, just a little flick. I always like a little flick. And then, just going to quickly change my rod rest about. I want a bit lower. Simple things that you just be doing before the start and bits and pieces, but I tend to wait till I'm fishing and just get myself comfortable. It takes 3 seconds. I've then got an ultralight tip in here, which is a super light splice tip, so bite detection should be quite easy today. There's no real wind. We've had a storm front come through and pass. The rain's been lashing, and we're now fishing. Again, as in all my winter fishing, I just quickly pressed my stopwatch on. Not to like say I'm going to get to 6 minutes and reel in a chuck again. What it does do, it just gives me the opportunity to not be lazy, because it's quite easy. I see guys doing this all the time. You chuck out and they're straight for this. They're like this. Facebook, texting your mates, ringing people. There's a time and a place for it. Fishing Boddington or something, when you can't get a bite and you're fishing for a carp that's going to hang itself and drag you in on a big wafter and a size 10 hook. But here we're fishing a size 16 to 014 line, so it's quite a heavy line. Bear in mind, there's quite a few carp in here, and we're having a pleasure session today, so if we do get a bite, it'd be nice to land one. It's like anywhere, groundbait's the main attractor down here, so I'm not putting any loose feed in at all. Literally, I've got a pot full of chopped worm here. Maybe I half filled that with neat worm and chopped it down, so there's virtually a palmful in there really. There's not a lot at all. That'll probably see me through most of the session. The water's freezing cold, the fish aren't going wild, they're not ploughing through the bait. We're literally fishing, I think, for 1 or 2 fish at a time. 5 minutes in now, not had a bite, still waiting, but I'm confident they're going to come. There's not many matches in winter that you catch in the first little while. It's just a case of feeling your way in. Probably in 3-4 cast time, I'm probably going to put in a thumbnail of worms. I'm just going to start with a thumbnail of worm and maybe a couple of pinkies. All I'll do with the pinkies is, rather than feed them, they're live at the moment, this bait's from Lanes this morning, all I do is rub them between my hand like that, which serves 2 purposes. Warms your hand up, kills the pinkies. Got dead pinkies there now, ready to go. And all I'll do is I'll put them into the ground bait bowl ready, and the pinch of worm, literally that big a pinch of worm, a thumbnail sized piece of worm, into the ground bait bowl ready. So when I do catch a fish, I then know what's going to happen. I'm going to come in, catch the fish, unhook him, put him, place him in my keep net, load my hook bait up again, go for my feeder straight away. I'm then not going, oh yeah, I'll best go and kill some pinkies. It's there ready for me. I'm being efficient. I'm being efficient even when the fishing's terrible. But when the fishing's good, things like that make it really difficult for people to beat, especially if you're fishing for like 100 fish plus. You need to think about your fishing a bit more like that. Really difficult fishing, but you know, just short of 8 minutes now, so literally going to pick up my rod, not going to strike, just going to literally pull it out my peg, all the way out the peg, then reel in. You're not striking through your fish. If there is any fish there, what's the point? And there's definitely no point in striking a foul looking one, because if it comes off in your peg, you've got a right trauma. The amount of times you prick a fish in your peg and it stops you catching. And nuggets aren't touched. There's obviously no fish feeding at the moment, so I'm just going to repeat the process. I'm going to miss the ground bait with the worms and pinkies there, stay them for a bit. Okay, just a little window, 20 gram window, just thumbnailed it into the side of it. A few fish starting to top now, just see a fish roll to my left. Get me clip, bait down, rod in the water, repeat the process. Once it hits a certain bottom, there you go, settled. Just press me try again. So I want to concentrate on my fishing for the next half hour or so. And I'll come back to you when we get a few bites and explain more about the process we go through of changing your ground bait from the normal mix, introducing bait, and then moving on to the slot mix. What a difference. Well, precisely 35 minutes makes. Weather's changed, it's now absolutely lashing down again. But on the fishing front, I'm not panicking. We've not had a bite. I didn't expect to have a bite early, as I said a little while ago. I think this will be a minimum of an hour to hour and 20 minutes to get a bite, which on a sort of skimmery venue doesn't really bother me too much. Just going to keep it patient. I'm going to literally, I've had probably 6 casts now. What I'm going to do next cast, I'm going to go back to a little bit of pinky, a little bit of worm, and try and introduce that slowly. just to see if we get a response. Maybe we can draw in a couple of perch or a couple of roach. But what I can't emphasise enough is, do not panic. It's a 5 hour match. It's not an hour match, it's a 5 hour match. That's why we have 5 hours and 6 hours of fishing. This sort of thing. The winter time's notorious. Bearing in mind, was it 2 weeks ago, half of this lake was frozen over. So it's like, we're right in the middle of winter fishing. I'm not always talking to you. I'm so concentrating on my tip. I'm trying to divide myself both ways. That's what fishing's about in winter. Being positive, being patient, but being switched on. Downside of this is I've had to take my heater off because I've set fire to my side tray and now I'm really cold. I don't want to, I keep toying with the idea of having a chuck with a slot, but what I don't want to do is once you go with that slot mix, there's no going back. And because we've not had a bite on anything yet, and a couple of other guys pleasure fishing on the lake, have not had a bite, it just tells me there's no fish moving at the moment. So I'm just going to stick to my guns, be super positive in the fact that I'm going to get a bite by going super negative. It's almost like a oxymoron to it. Just going to keep doing this way. I'm going to hold back on the slop until I think it's right. If I go too early, it's gone forever. So it's no point in risking it all in the first hour. So I'm going to keep now, I'm going to reel in now, have a chuck with my normal ground bait, introduce my first bit of pinky, first bit of chop worm. What I'm going to do first is make sure that I've got some ready to go. Even though I'm saving seconds, it's still worth fishing in a habit as such. A bit of worm in there ready. Again, just going to lift up now. That's been in there 9 minutes, that one. Lift up out the peg. And I got one on. Look at that. If I'd have struck into that, I'd have lost that fish. But because I've picked up, I've not even seen a bite, I've picked up to reel back in. I don't know if it's a fish or a rock or what. I think it's a fish. So important that. I've picked up, not knowing there's a fish on there. Ridiculous. If I'd have struck, I wouldn't have landed it. But no rush. It's not going anywhere. I've got 0.14 on. There you go, look. See? Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. It's not very often, but I've been known to catch a couple of fish every now and then. This is what I'm famous for. You're going to love this fish. Let's unhook him. Nicked, so it's right buried in the bottom lip. How have you not seen a bite from that? It's unbelievable, really. I'm just going to spin it round there. I'm going to drop it in just in the edge there. I'm going to hold him up. It is a 10-ounce hybrid. 10-ounce hybrid. Like, he's the kind of fish that ploughs in your peg, picks up and rips off. And I've picked up from him to reel in. But if I'd have gone, I'd have snapped him off. Just shows the importance of being slow. I'll put him in my net and put him in there. I don't like dropping him too high. He's a beautiful fish and he's served us well for our first actual bite. We're just over an hour into the session now, give or take. I'm on 8 minutes and 14 seconds on this cast. So straight after we cut the last time I caught the hybrid, I cast out again with 3 pinkies, not fed any ground bait at all. Any loose offerings in the ground bait, just neat ground bait on its own. And after 6.5 minutes, it just went dunk. And then with the running rig, it just carried on. The second and third time went and picked up, and I had a skimmer about 8 ounces he would be. Not massive, but very welcome this time of year. And I say, nailed him in the bottom of the lip with 3 fluoro pinkies. And I still don't fed anything. So this cast, I'm going to have one last cast here now, where I'm just going to feed nothing. And I'm now on, like say, 8 minutes odd. Going to give it to probably, I might give it a little bit longer, so I'm going to have a chat with you now, to about 11 or 12 minutes, just to push it to the end of the zone of where I want to leave the bait in the water without getting a bite. The next cast, I'm going to kill a few pinkies and a little tiny mince of worm, and I'm going to, that's an indication then. Lights went. Then, so that was 8 minutes 16 in. That just went a little tremble. There was like a fish swam through the line, or a thought about a bite, maybe something touching the feed, I don't know. But I nearly went for it. Nearly. So there's obviously a few fish in the area starting to come through the peg a little bit now. So you have a decision to make. Do you stick or twist? We're an hour in. Kind of feel like we need to put something in the peg now. So obviously we're not had a major response, just neat ground bait. So we've obviously got a few fish in the peg. They've been attracted by the bait, but obviously they've not tipped up and gone mad in it yet. And then they're probably not going to today all day. Like, I think if you averaged 3 fish an hour here, you're probably going to be there or thereabouts today. So I think next cast when I come in, I'm literally going to kill a few pinkies now, dig them right underneath the back of the tray. Little, probably 15 bits of 15 pinkies. Again, roll them. I've never been one for feeding loads of dead maggot, having maggot stored in the freezer at home. I just think it discolours and it's not fresh. So literally a little ball of it there. I'm going to put it in the corner of my pot again ready. And I dimp a little tiny bit of worm on there. So we've had 2 fish and 1 bite, believe it or not. So obviously the first time I picked up and there was one on the end, and if I'd have picked up too fast I'd have lost him. And the second time was a great bite, but it went round. First initial dink and then just had a tremble there. So we're an hour in, 3 indications. It's not setting the world with light, but it's also, I've caught 2 fish on a freezing cold day. So I'm going to give it another minute. I'm going to lift up again slowly, bring her in. 3 pinkies again, so I had both fish on 3 pinkies. A little bit of worm in there, a little bit of tiny few dead pinkies, and just see where we go from there and just take our time. But hopefully, this is the next part of the process. Putting a bit of bait in might trigger an instant response. We'll have to wait and find out on that. But there we go, 10 minutes. I'm going to lift up again slowly. Just put out the peg. No fish this time, move straight away. We'll have a chuck now, and hopefully we get an instant response. I finally give in and tried to slop. We literally had a spell for an hour. We never caught a fish. So I think this is my 4th chuck on the slop now, where I've just cut out everything apart from sloppy ground bait. I think half the problem was we were getting a few bites, just started to get a few indications. And obviously, with us being the only guys on lambs down at Meadowlands, the fish are looking for us, and also wildlife are looking for us. So we had a spell where we had a load of grebes dived on us, and it killed the peg for a little bit. So we almost like had to start again. So when we started making a bit of noise, the grebes left us alone again. But end of the day, they're just looking for there's no point screaming and shouting out, and they're looking for their dinner too. So it's just one of them things. It's in a match is a bit different because you have a lot of anglers about in a match, so everyone's feeding and the fish spread out. So again, just a slop only. So I kind of started again and started putting a few worms through, and just never caught anything. I had a couple of liners, so just decided to start fishing the slop for a bit, just try and create a column going through the water. And it's definitely made a quick impact. Whether it lasts or not with this sort of colour of water, it's very clear, and the coldness remains to be seen. But the best thing about it is the rain's kind of left us alone. Probably about 20 minutes ago it stopped, so I've got me heater back out because you can't have it on when the canopy's up. And I'm trying to dry my left hand side out, which is going pretty well at the moment. But again, I'm just chucking out. And the key with that slop is because there's not many fish feeding, I'm creating a bit of a cloud in the peg, and hopefully a few small fish come in now, and a few smaller fish feeding can attract bigger fish. And what we've not looked at, which I thought we might do, is a carp. We've not had nothing. That shows how cold it is. There's Wayne Sharman, the owner of the complex here at Meadowlands, has been round and said there's a few guys fishing around and not many people are catching at all. Obviously conditions are very much against us today. It's been ice cold rain half the day. Sort of 2 degrees yesterday, daytime high. And it's probably about 5 or 6 degrees today, but I think the damage has been done in the previous sort of lead up to the venue, to us coming to the venue. But we've had some bites though. I've had probably 5 or 6 skimmers now, 3 or 4 nice roach. Missed the net with a skimmer, and I've had 2 or 3 come off on the way in where I'm fishing. The bites are so negative. They're so just obviously you're just hooking them around the outside of the face, and even the slightest pickup. I've had a couple where I've got halfway back in, and for no reason, like I know you're using barbless hooks, but it's kind of irrelevant when you've got a tight line. The hooks, obviously, just nicking them on the skin around the face or around the mouth. And obviously, skimmers are very, very soft mouth, so you're just pulling out even the most softest rod, fishing line, and a bungee. You still pull out of a few. It's just the nature of the beast. But a little indication there. It's a little tiny little flick there. You see that I'm just sat there with my hand in front of the heater now and drying my fingers out. I have no hair left soon. But although it's a bit of rock hard day's fishing, it's been quite enjoyable because you do something and you get one response and then you don't get a response again. Yeah, there you go. Look, geez, he never moved so quick in my life. He twinged me back again doing that. So obviously, if I've just gone like that, it's like as a roach picked it up. Oh, how do you miss that? Sort of bite you missed when you were 12, not 45. But it's not interesting. Since you put that slop in, I've had a few more indications and bits and pieces. So I'll keep doing it. That was on a single red maggot, that was. The bait's always trying to inspect my bait when I get in. That's like not being touched. That could have been a roach or something. Again, just thumbing that in. Bit of slop in there. It's around the feed. So you get a bit break off on the surface, and then obviously the 10 foot of water down, you're going to get a bit of a cloud come off. I keep trying redworm as well. I've had a couple of little dinks on redworm, but with one fish that have had it properly, but the only fish was like an 8-ounce roach on it. Just don't think there's any amount of fish feeding. There's no real fish topping. There's no carp sticking their heads out. I think it's just one of them winter days where it's called fishing, isn't it? It's not called catching. So like, it's just a case of going through the motions, trying your hardest and maximum effort in. And today we put a lot of effort in for a little reward. Like I say, we've had 4 or 5 skimmers and a few roach. It's not been solid by any means, but every fish has been earned. We've not been given anything. We had to earn everything here today. Some days, them days make you a better angler. It's like if you were catching one every single chuck on whatever you did. Look. Why do you always hold your breath when you go at strike? What's that all about? I keep doing it. Oh my God. Can that not be on? You're going to drive me a bit nuts now. So, so we've had 2 bites there. That is absolutely bladdered, that maggot. What should we try? Tell you what, we'll not try one yet. We'll try a little tiny bit of dendra. Like, that's like, I don't know how that's not been on that fish there. Just shows what we actually know about fishing. We think we know everything. We haven't really got a clue. Top tip for dendras, though. Put the dendra head on. If I put it on like that, it's a big ball. Goes into like a pea. I mean, it's no good for man to beast, that. So I put a dendra head on. I just go up to my thumb and my finger, and I squeeze it 4 or 5 times, just like you're tenderising a bit of steak and bashing it. Just softens it up a little bit. Just find you never get a bite on a big pea head. Again, I'll try a little bit of worm in this feeder this time. Oh, it's so frustrating when you miss a bite when you're not getting many indications again. But it was interesting, them 4 or 5 feederfuls we put in of slop have introduced a few fish into the peg, whether they're little fish, could be little tiny roaches, big for all we know. Because we've not hooked one, it kind of haven't got a clue really. We'll click the try button on that. We've gone for a worm head now, so really you're thinking you're going to catch a little bit of a bigger fish. We always associate getting a bit of a bigger fish on a worm as opposed to a maggot. So I'm going to give this a 10-minute chuck now and see if anything happens. I really had to ring the changes today, and it's so noticeable. Like, change, get a couple of indications. Look, dink, dink. So there's a few fish there. That slop has definitely brought some fish in, whether it's time of the day, kicking on now, or it's the fact that I've caught so many fish in this slop over the years, especially places like, I don't know, that was a roach bite. If ever you've seen a roach bite, it just went. So it kind of signalled to me they might be a few smaller fish in the peg now. Like what I said at the start of the whole session was, by putting that slop in, you create a big cloud from top to bottom. And it does happen on venues where there's lots of roach. You put it in and you just get destroyed by these little things. But every now and then you go in. We used to work a treat at Bow Beach. Like, you'd fish like for 3 hours on a groundbait feeder or a window putting your bait in. And all of a sudden you have 4 chucks with a window, same size feeder, full of slop. And all of a sudden you go in on the 4th chuck and it just goes great big on a paternoster rig, big bow around slowly, and you pick up and there's a 3-4 pound bream on the end. But today it's been hard, and the fact that we've had a few fish on that, I'll have this one chuck on worm, and you know you're going to catch on worm straight away because with skimmers they tend to pull it in pretty quickly. You don't tend to wait for ages and get a bite. You just like, there's fish there now. So that cloud has definitely brought some fish into the peg. I can't convert them indications on the tip at the moment into fish, which is super frustrating. But be quite easy to give up and keep plodding along and just like, oh, whatever, there's just carp in your peg. But I think they're skimmers, I do. I think they're little skimmers swimming about. At the moment, we're not quite good enough to transfer that indications into fish. We've had a few, but it'd be nice to sort it out. I'm not going to give up. And I have this cast with worm on the hook. I'm going to give it to 10 minutes, I think, which is quite a long time. What it also does then, I've had 2 or 3 quick casts there where I've chucked in really rapid. And there's obviously bait now, I think, all through the bottom top, probably 2/3 of water. So by giving it a longer chuck now with the worm head, I'm letting the peg settle down again. Just going to slow it down because I just can't see the point of chucking every 2 minutes. It's just not going to work on a day like today. You can tell from experience of fishing all my life, if you start boshing bait everywhere, you're just not going to get a bite anywhere in your peg. And today might be one of them days where I'd have been better off sitting, fishing like an embed with a little 3mm Aquastim pink wafter on, and just sitting for, well, it definitely would have been the day for just sitting for 4 or 5 bites and just waiting. 20-minute chucks on a method where you set a little parcel of bait out there, maybe a bit of liquid on there, just try a bit of an added attractant, just waiting for 1 bite at a time. But not what we come to try and work out today. We come to try and work out this, and proving rather difficult at the moment, but we're not giving up. It's my instinct in my head now. We're 3 minutes 20 and my instinct saying to me, reel in and chuck it again. I'm trying really, really hard not to here. And I always say, if you think it, do it. So we're going to do it. We're going to quickly do it. I always say it to people in the coaching days we do and that. If you think it, just quickly try it. I think if there had been a fish there properly, we'd have had him straight away. Let's go. Red maggots, roll him finger, roll him out a bit, make him a bit softer, kill him a little bit. I'm going to put a single maggot on. Just going to go just pure slop again. And if anything to go by, last few chucks we've had indication really quite quickly. I'd like to think they're big fish, but I'm getting the impression the way that dinked last time on the worm, it might be little fish. But I nearly held my rod then as well. I thought about holding my rod, but I won't. Put it down there, tighten quite quickly to it, because we had the bites relatively signs early. You want to tighten into it really rapid. So I've put a big bow in the tip now just to pull it back. Obviously fishing a super light tip, it doesn't really affect the bite registration. Alright, there we go. So we're fishing now. Look. Oh. So nearly went. So obviously coming. There you go, look, the fish on that time. That's come straight into that slop. It is a skimmer. So it just proves that, oh, it might be a rogue, I know. Been a world champion, can't tell what I'm catching. But even though it's not a match on pleasure fishing, it's still exciting. It's still, there you go, a little tiny skimmer. It just shows you though, just ringing the changes. Tiny little fish, look. So they're what we're getting the bites from out there and missing. And if I'd not fed the slop, when my peg had just sat there and not got any better every single chance. Right, bear in mind you can't see a bite. He's absolutely nailed it. Like, how is it down that deep? Beautiful little fish. Maybe 6 ounces. I know they're not big and they're not pulling back very hard, but for me, when you're doing this kind of fish, it's all about the bite. It's the same with carp, guys. When you get the initial 3, like the big 1 toner, it's all about the bite for them. Let's try a double maggot. Let's see if we make a bigger fish. The light's starting to go now, so we've kind of proved a few things. The slop has definitely made an impact to our fishing. We'll try and show you a throwing a bit down the edge quickly as well. Before we wrap up, we're starting to lose a bit of light now. So I think we're going to have a couple more casts. And I think the Aquastim cameras will have a problem getting me to pack up before it gets too dark to do a catch shot, because I'm kind of in the zone now and enjoying myself. And that is what fishing's all about. It's not all about fishing at top level. Sometimes it's about just going out 2 or 3 of your mates and having a bit of a fish. Especially this time of year. Like if it's terrible weather, you can pack up, can't you? If it's a match, you can't really pack up. Well, you can do, but it's a bit frowned upon. So quickly, so last chuck out here and see what happens. Dead interesting, that was in the water seconds before we had the indication. So the fish has obviously followed that down, that cloud, and found the hook bait straight away and got on it. So it just shows that scaling down probably is not going to make any difference, I don't think. I am going to try it before I go, just to see. But it's like I said at the start, it's the feeding is the key. It's always about the feeding. Today we've proved that the BioGrub Dark, it's a great base mix for this sort of fishing because it doesn't hold loads of content. Obviously there's not much fish meal in there. It's basically an insect meal as opposed to cereal and loads of crushed up pellets. And everywhere I've been, look at that, point proven. 2 in 2, swapped it up. Keep chopping and changing and get out on the bank and try things. No point, you can't catch anything sat on your sofa, that's for certain. It was like a roach this, don't know what it is. It's kicking a bit. Oh, it's a cronking great big roach. Look at this. If I get this in, we're going to knock it on the head and go home, because I'm not going to beat it. Look at that. Just showed what kind of, these fisheries like Meadowlands and commercial, it's just fantastic for fishing. Look at that for a roach. Probably best part of 10 ounces of roach there. Don't see many of them about now. Absolutely proper nailed. Mwah. Right at the end of the day. The light's completely going now. We're about 10 to 4. What a fantastic day's fishing. As always, one last cast. Couldn't help myself. The slop really transformed the peg around. Catching fish, it's only £1.50, but look at the state of the fish. Absolutely beautiful. Just chopping and changing your peg all day long. Even I say these perch, look. Meadowlands quite famous for perch. That's some real big beauties in here. This sort of thing you can expect to catch fish in the feeder in winter time. Just a bit of patience, a bit of finesse, chopping and changing, being on top of your day. Just leads to fantastic days like this. Probably best part of, we get on for double figures there of fish. Not many fish, but all great big quality. I mean, look at that for a roach. Beautiful fish. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. It enables us to get out on the bank and do more stuff like this, showing you how to catch beautiful fish like this. For the top tips, all the videos are made for you guys out there to make you put more fish in the net. Let's get these guys back and get wrapped up before it gets too cold. I'll see you on the bank next time.